Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me directly through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is an internationally syndicated show solely due to the love and support that you all continue to show. We're available across all major podcast distributors. And like I mentioned, people, if you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in because we are delighted to showcase this next guest on our network. And on the line with us today, we have the impressive Frank Hozeska. And we're going to be discussing Frank's amazing book, Mad Druggist, available through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and a whole host of other places. Head on over there today, pick up your copies, and get lost in this incredible book. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Frank here on the line. People, today, strap in, man. Today, we're stepping behind the velvet robe of Hollywood glamour to uncover a side of Tinseltown you've never seen. Okay, through the eyes of a pharmacist. You see, Frank Hozeska has spent years filling prescriptions for the rich and the famous, and his new book is a hilarious, jaw-dropping peek into the world of celebrity health secrets, bizarre requests, and the unexpected chaos of being the pill-dispensing confidant to the stars. Listen, from A-listers with peculiar demands to the surreal moments that blur the line between pharmacy and showbiz, this is Hollywood like you've never imagined it. I mean, this is Hollywood like you hear stories of, but you may not have experienced yourself. Like I mentioned, sit back and strap in, man, because this is going to be a good one. Frank, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me as a guest. I really appreciate it.
Well, listen, Frank, the pleasure is all ours, man. We're thoroughly looking forward to this. Your book is something remarkably humorous, entertaining, but also gives us a snapshot into the life of a pharmacist, and not just the life of any old pharmacist, a pharmacist in Los Angeles. And you know, you and I, we were talking on the pre-screening call, and I tell you, man, there's something about LA. I mean, it is a different beast out here. Okay, so I would assume that if you're a pharmacist in Hollywood, it probably comes along with different criteria than being a pharmacist in Ohio, for instance.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was a pharmacist on Sunset and Fairfax, so in the 90s. So I was like the pharmacist of the stars, and all the movie stars used to come into my pharmacy, and the producers and directors, agents, everybody came in. And I had fun. I loved it out there because every day was a different day, and every day I got to meet a new celebrity. Mm-hmm. And funny thing is after I would get done counseling them on their medication, I would hand them my movie script and trying to get my movie sold. But the supervisors didn't like that, and they fired me for it. And they said, well, you're supposed to be filling scripts, not writing scripts in the pharmacy. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is crazy. So, I got let go from Sunset and Fairfax. But then I wrote a book because, nobody wanted my movie script. I got rejected, it's not a blockbuster, your movie, mm-hmm. It sucks, stick to your day job. I got all these rejections. And so, I was out there for a while and I got tired of the rejections. So then I wrote a book and thought, okay, maybe I'll try a book, So, Hollywood's fun. I had a lot of fun out there, meeting all the people.
Well, listen, their loss is our gain, Frank, because now we get this amazing book and we're looking forward to it, man. And listen, a great segue that you've established here, because without further ado, let's jump right in. Tell us more about your book, Mad Druggist.
Oh, okay. Well, it took me 30 30 years to get fired about 17 times. And I didn't do that on purpose, I thought after I got fired this many times for all these ridiculous reasons, I was like, you know what? Since I'm in Hollywood, I'm just going to make a book out of this, because I thought it was funny, My wife didn't think it was too funny, especially when I was standing in the unemployment line all the time, and we had a mortgage to pay, and she didn't think that was too funny. So she got sick of my funny business, and she left me. So I put her in the movie script to make it juicier. There's a lot in my book. A lot of different things happened. I don't know if you want to hear more about it. The ending is really good, but I can't tell you the exact ending. But it's actually happened that way, and it's kind of like a phenomenon that happened to me, and it's kind of spiritual, and there's lessons to be learned, and it's funny, and there's drama. I mean, it's got everything, And when I was down in Hollywood, it's like now people want to buy my book because they want to know all the gossip in Hollywood, and who did I know, and who did this, and who did that, and so they want to buy my book just not for the cover, but to see what happened to me in Hollywood, So they buy my book just because of that.
I believe it, man. Frank, listen, as someone who has lived in the Los Angeles area for almost 2 decades now, there is something about the appeal of Los Angeles and what it has to those outside of it, right? It is riveting, and it draws a lot of people. There's an allure about it. And that is something that I can absolutely understand in terms of what you're talking about. Well, I want to go into some of those stories now. Let's go into maybe 1 or 2 of them to give us a little bit more insight as to what to expect.
Well, I got once in Hollywood, I got terminated because one of my techs wanted to date me, and I didn't want to date them, and so then they were kind of mad at me. So then, as I was handing out my movie scripts to the movie producers, I'm not going to say who, and somebody was shorted 5 Vicodin tablets, one of the producers. And so I knew the person for about a year, because he used to come in and get his Vicodin, like 30 tablets a month, because I guess he fell on the set and hurt his back or something. So every night he took 1 Vicodin tablet. Well, anyway, he was shorted 5 tablets, and so then I just gave him the 5 tablets. Well, then one of my techs, who wanted to go out with me, went and told the supervisor on Sunset and Fairfax that Frank the Pharmacist is giving away free narcotics to the movie people, so they'll buy his movie and give him a movie contract, which was not true at all. We miscount in the pharmacy a lot, and it just so happened that one of the producers was shorted 5 tablets, and then they fired me for that, and then they fined me $5,000 or $3,000, I can't remember, for stealing from the pharmacy, and so yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff happened out there to me, and that's one of the crazy ones. I could go into more, but I don't want to tell you the whole book. There's just a lot of funny situations that happened to me, and since I was doing stand-up comedy across the street on the Comedy Club and Laugh Factory, I just kind of interjected some of my jokes into my book, and drugs and jokes, that's what it's all about. So I tried to make it funny, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Frank, that should be the title for either your next book or an upcoming film or even a comedy series, man. Drugs and jokes. I like it, man. Listen, you're onto something there, brother. I really do like it.
Yeah, it kind of fits, but it doesn't, You know what they say, laughter is the best medicine, right? Laughter is the best medicine.
Don't I know it? You know? Well, listen, let's move on now to the next part here, Frank. So, of course, this book is filled with all of these, man. All of these interesting stories, a lot of humor infused into it. But let's get real for a second. I'm curious to know, throughout all of these experiences, what were some life lessons learned or any insightful things that you were able to take from them and really grow from?
Okay, that's a great question, because after I was getting let go all the time, and back in 1986, when God threw this ball of fire at me as big as the moon, and right before it turned me into dust and everybody around me, this happened in the Midwest, it turned into light all around me. And like, I was still alive, and I was like, thank you, Lord Jesus, you know? Like, what is this, wormwood? No, it was holy wood. You know what I'm saying? It didn't destroy me or anybody, but it was a message sent by God. And so every time I would get let go by a supervisor, I always remembered that ball of fire. And, you know, I was pretty upset about getting fired. And then I would like think to myself, only if this supervisor was brought to his knees like God brought me to my knees with that ball of fire in 1986, you know, he would think different about firing me, because who knows? But what I'm saying is, my point is, every time I got fired, I always said, God has a better plan. And I told that to the supervisors. And the reason I said that was because, and I said it over and over and over again, because I kept getting fired and fired and fired. And, you know, what I wanted to do is, you know, make a movie or a book and show the young people today that, you know, you don't have to take revenge on anybody and, you know, go crazy on the supervisors and, you know, bring a gun and all that. You just say God has a better plan. And remember that. And you will get a better job, and everything will go the way God planned. So you don't need to take revenge on anybody. Just say God has a better plan. And that's exactly what I told my bosses. And they couldn't believe it. They're like, what is he talking about? Well, I was talking about myself, because I was like, God has a better plan for me. And basically, he doesn't want to work. He didn't want me to work for you to begin with. So, you know, I took it all in stride. You know what I mean? God was number one, and if that's the way he wanted it, that's the way he wanted it. So that was another reason why I wrote the book. I want people to see that they got to learn to say God has the better plan and move on. Yeah, that's what it's about.
Frank, I'm so glad you took it there, man, because what a great piece of advice. And people, listen, this is why I'm telling you, you got to pick up copies of Mad Druggist. First and foremost, again, it's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, and it's a lot of other places. But Frank Hozeska is a name that you need to know. This book...
And here's the thing. In my life, I got fired at least 10, 15 times. And not once did I take revenge. So if I can get fired 17 times and keep saying over and over and over, God has a better plan, 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 and boom, 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 boom. Not once did I take revenge on anybody, because I put God first. And that's what I want the young people to get instilled in their head. You're going to get fired. Everybody does. You just say God has a better plan, and put that in your script, you know, when you go to your job, just in case, because it comes up out of the blues, you know. And, you know, one day you're here, the next day you're not. So just get prepared and just remember God has the better plan. That's right.
Frank, absolutely, man. And listen, this is the reason why I say your book is so important, man. People understand this is much more than an entertaining read. And now don't get it twisted. It is an entertaining read. But let me tell you, man, it has some wisdom to be gained here. It has substance to be found.
It's a spiritual journey. And basically, for me to be in that spot where I was in 1986 and to have that great ball of fire from God come right down at me. And the thing of it is a customer came into my pharmacy, and when I was in San Diego working, I was near Tijuana, and I asked him what does he do for a living, and he said he's an astronomer. And I said, oh, really? Did you happen to see a ball of fire in 1986? He said, yeah. He says, I'm a professor at the University of San Diego on top of the hill, that big telescope. He said, we saw that big ball of fire come down. And I said, yeah, that thing came down right at me, and I thought it was the end of the world. And I said, I prayed to God, forgive me, Lord. And boom, right then it turned into light all around me. And I was like, this is crazy, this has got to be shared with the world, And so basically I just, lightened it up a little bit. There's the pun. And trying to tell everybody what's up, get it, and, make a little joke about it. But, maybe people can have some fun with it instead of getting all upset about the tribulation, just do what Louis does, then everything will be fine. You'll go to heaven.
Frank, I'm curious with this next one, man, what would you say was a highlight for you throughout this process of writing the book? Or if not a highlight, something that maybe surprised you that you weren't anticipating before you began on this journey?
Oh my gosh, I could not believe the critics and the rejections and the money that I had to pay for publishers and book fairs and film festivals and put in all the money that I spent. And I'll tell you, I think from now on, if I write a book, I'm going to wait for a certified publisher and who knows what he's doing, because you can spend a lot of money on a lot of things that don't even pan out. And so I lost a lot of money and a wife and a house and a dog. Sounds like a country song, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm serious. It's kind of like my nightmare investment. But I don't know. I just trust God that someday he'll put this on the movie screen so everybody can see it and they can feel what it's like to be underneath a ball of fire from God, that you have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. It's just between you and God, and you better tell him you're sorry and forgive you, because that's it. You know what I mean? And I would like everybody to know how it feels. Not just one of those movies where, oh yeah, there goes a ball of fire over there. No, this one came right down on me, and it was so big, it was going to turn me into dust. And I want everybody in the world to get that feeling, because that's what it's going to be like in the end times. And you're probably very lucky that I came along, because I can tell you exactly what to do to get to heaven. You just say, forgive me, Father, when that ball of fire comes, and you'll be right in heaven. And that's what it's all about. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about the spiritual journey. It's about what you learn. Yeah, that's what it's about.
Love that. Love that. Frank, as we close out, man, two-part question here to close this. First and foremost, who would you say is your intended reader for this book? And what are you hoping that they take away from it after they've completed it?
Well, my intended readers are young people who start work. They're just getting out into the workforce, because when you're young, you still got your parents to live off of, and you're not really not focused on your job, because you're like, oh, if I get fired, I'll just go back to mom and dad, But and also for the people who have anger problems, all you got to do is have a script ready for when you get let go, because everybody gets let go. And it's for the young people. I guess it's for anybody who has a job, is really. People can relate to my book because people who work for the public, they get in a lot of trouble, especially me, with my big mouth. Sometimes I would get in trouble with the customers, and, my wife wanted me to put duct tape on my mouth before I went to work, so, that wasn't going to help, but it could have helped. But anyway, yeah, the takeaway is to get anybody who has a job, don't take revenge. Just say God has a better plan and move on. And so, yeah, anybody can read it and have fun. Just have fun with it and learn. And remember, there's a spiritual journey for this, too. Yeah.
People, again, it's Amazon. It's Barnes & Noble. Man, type it into a Google search bar, and you're going to see that there's a whole host of other places where you can purchase the book. Once again, it's called Mad Druggist by Frank Hozeska. Remember the name.
It's me, the Mad Druggist. I'm just joking. Yeah, that's what it makes you do. After 35 years of pharmacy, you go mad.
I believe it, man. Listen, this world has enough to make you go crazy, Frank. People, I'm telling you, this book is going to be entertaining. It's going to be a guiding light that you've been looking for and you probably didn't even know it. Head on over there today, pick up your copies, and figure out exactly why I say that. And I promise you, once you start, you're going to know. Frank, this has been a true pleasure, man, and an absolute honor. I really do mean that. Thank you once again for being a guest through People of Distinction.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you, and God bless.